You're just funny. It's funny, the way you tell the story and everything.
Funny how?
Come here, though. Yeah, he's crazy, see? Who are you?
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Are you ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning into the Berardo podcast. I, of course, am your host, Tony Berardo, and with me for the third or fourth time, Mr. EJ Nieves. What up, EJ?
What's up, man? You know, I always appreciate you saying my name right. You got the inflection and everything with it. People, and I think I say this every episode, but it's because my name gets butchered so much. I just appreciate it when I hear it said correctly.
No doubt, man. My pleasure. And I think it's because the wife is Spanish, so if I fuck up your name, then I get my balls chopped off. So, yeah. But no, dude, thanks for coming on. I appreciate you.
Oh, for sure.
We don't know what we're going to talk about, okay, folks? But I know it's going to be good.
Yeah.
We're using Zoom, which we typically don't use a lot.
Yeah.
So the only thing I hate about Zoom with a passion is, well, I hate doing these things virtually. So next time, we've already committed, you're coming here live next time. That's it.
Live. It's going to be a whole different experience.
It might even be kind of radical where if we like promote it, maybe we'll like pick a nice day and we can do a live painting in my backyard. We'll cook up some pizza.
Ooh.
Maybe like a Ninja Turtle.
Bro, get out of my head. I was just about to say, if somehow, some way we can make this about Ninja Turtles. I know the only big thing coming is Shredder's Revenge, and that's kind of happening soon. So it will be in the back end of Shredder's Revenge. But yes.
It's okay. Let's do it. And I don't know if you have Connect, we can either do like something with Little Caesars or Pizza Hut or something like that, but we'll use my pizza, or we could just like get a blank pizza pie. Maybe we do a couple of those.
You know what? I like that. Let's do a couple blank pizza boxes. We'll put your pizza in the blank one, my painting on. Yeah, it's gonna be a whole thing.
Yes. I love that.
It's gonna be a whole thing.
We'll do it live. We'll promote on IG. We'll set up shit outside. Like we'll make it look legit. Maybe we'll bring fucking Magnum out here and he could do his fucking magic too. Maybe we'll make a fucking event out of it. That'd be kind of rad.
Okay, now that we're in this vein, can we please put pizza company? Okay, and we have a shirt. We get our shirts made. I got a couple connections. Tony's Pizza or Berardo. I don't know.
Pizzeria.
Whatever. Whatever. We'll figure it out.
My guy, I already got signs in my backyard that say Berardo Pizzeria.
Oh, okay.
And
then we're
done.
Then we're gonna put that. We're gonna put that on the shirt. We're gonna put that on the box, and then I'm gonna paint on top of it. It's gonna be awesome.
My man. Yeah, I mean, we were voted the number one pizzeria in Apollo Beach, actually.
What?
Yeah. Well, I mean, me and Brenda are the only ones that voted, but
hey, you still got the prize, so we're good.
Yeah.
It's happening, guys. This is gonna be awesome. We literally
this is gonna be
had a vision meeting, a vision board meting here, right? Live in front of everybody.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Things happen.
Things happen on this podcast.
So we want to talk about a lot of things, but one thing, because it's fresh in my mind, is you saw Top Gun.
Oh yeah. I saw it twice and I'm gonna watch it. Yeah.
So I think, is that a Paramount? That's a Paramount flick, right?
I believe so. Yeah, because Top Gun, I think they dropped it on Paramount.
First one was. Yeah.
Like part one.
Yeah.
Netflix as well, but.
Well, because I'm hoping that eventually it'll be on Paramount Plus.
Yeah. I'm gonna watch. There's those movies that you just watch in the background, or you just listen to in the background while you're cleaning the house, or you're getting things done, or you're making some pizza in the backyard. Now I'm gonna share mine. You got to share what yours are. So I have a couple movies like that. My Dark Knight, 300, and Napoleon Dynamite. Those movies, they're just on in my house for no reason. At any given time, it doesn't matter what's happening. They're just in the background, like background noise. I can tell you the lines of all those movies like the back of my hand. What about you?
I love it.
Yeah, you have those kind of movies?
I do. I mean, Dark Knight is definitely one of them for sure. anything comic book related, I'll throw on there. If it's a superhero movie, like now Netflix has The Amazing Spider-Man, so I'll have that.
Trending hard.
Yeah, which is interesting. I don't know what Sony's doing. Maybe Sony's trying to work out a deal or something with Netflix because they're bombing. That'd be interesting.
Oh man, don't get me Sony, but
I'm gonna get your thoughts on a couple of things too. But me, I'm more of a series guy. Like I always have. So like New Girl, which I love, that's always on. Friends is always on before I go to bed. Seinfeld's always on. Any comedy special, I usually like to have in the background because I'm a podcast guy, obviously by nature. So if I do anything, it'll be a podcast on YouTube because I'll actually hear it and listen to it.
Yep.
Or I might just throw it on my, throw on my YouTube on my phone or something and have something playing. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of movies out there. Definitely Dark Knight's one of them. I like Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Okay.
That's always going. When I like background stuff, I usually like comedies because if it's anything that I actually enjoy, like The Dark Knight, just recently I was cleaning the house and I had it on my big screen upstairs. And I'm cleaning our media room. We have like this theater room. Yeah. And I'm cleaning the media room, doing its thing, and that's where I have like my Philips Hue lights, and it's synced up with the actual TV. So, but it's a gradient light. So like, for instance, if you're watching Star Wars and the lightsaber starts at the bottom and goes up, the light will follow it around the TV.
Yo, that's sick.
Gnarly, bro. It was about a $500 setup, but I would pay $1,000 for it. It's so disgusting.
Wow.
So I had the Dark Knight and it was cranking and I'm cleaning and I'm vacuuming and stuff. And then I'm like, I can't hear the Dark Knight, because it was the introduction of Heath Ledger, not on the bus scene, but in the mob. And once he walks in, he goes, ah, 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 ah. And then once he does that, I'm like, hold on, let me turn off the vacuum. Let me just sit and watch. Next thing you know, 2.5 hours later, I finished the vacuum. So it's,
I've done that before.
That's a rough one. Yeah.
Movies are good. I know that, we kind of talked a little bit before the show about what we're going to talk about. And, hey, maybe we just kind of organically introduce what we're going to be talking about because, movies, I don't know, man, movies are they're great. I am a movie head now. And when I say that, it's not that I'm versed in every genre that, I know, character names and actors and, their names and their background stories. So it's not at that level. But what I do mean is that, like, I love the movie experience. I have a Regal subscription.
Nice.
And I'll watch 1 or 2 movies a week, man. There's been times where I'll watch, 3 movies a week because I just like the experience of grabbing the popcorn or the slushy or the Slurpee and sitting down, getting nestled in. My favorite is going to an empty movie theater. That I love it. I do that all the time. I go to a matinee all the time, and it's just me and a random person 3 rows over, and you'll have that moment where you're just like, they might look back or you might chuckle at the same time. Yeah. You're like, oh, I just had an experience with a random stranger. Right. But I love the movie experience, man. It's such a cool thing. It's just a cool thing.
It is. No, there's something special about it for sure. And I mean, in fact, I was just talking to about this with a buddy of mine. And so I think there was I'm trying to remember the exact movie. It might have been Spider-Man No Way Home, but there was one movie in particular where it was like the first time I went on a weekend since the pandemic, of course. And I'm trying to remember because during the pandemic, I think maybe a year in, maybe like 2001, I might have watched a movie, but it was like a Wednesday, and we did it on purpose because we didn't want the theater to be packed. Yeah. And that's when they were still doing the every seat is empty in between a couple, right? So I did, but I think Spider-Man No Way Home might have been the first one that I went that was on like a opening night, packed.
Yes.
But of course it's very memorable, right? Probably one of the greatest comic book movies ever. And then of course the Batman, which I won't talk too much about because I know we've geeked out about that and I've talked about that ad nauseum. But those since then, I feel like I'm on this this perfect run of seeing movies in theater that I don't want to see at home.
Mm.
And I don't know if that's because maybe I haven't seen movies in theaters recently as much. And it's almost like, I don't know, when you don't have alcohol for like 2 months and then you take that first sip and you're like, this is the greatest thing ever. Maybe I'm having that feeling with theaters. But during the pandemic, the whole point of this is during the pandemic, I told myself it's better to stream and I'm never going to go back to the movies again.
Okay.
Until I saw fucking Top Gun Maverick in theaters, bro.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I mean, there is... That movie, not only was it meant for the theater, but it reminded me, and again, I go back to Spider-Man No Way Home might have been my first one, and that's a great, but I have to take myself out of it because I'm such a nerd that even if it sucked, that the Batman, I would have said it was the greatest thing ever in theaters because I'm just that type of person where I'm so biased to those characters that even if it sucked, I would tell my friends that it was the greatest thing ever. But Top Gun, even though I was a fan and I grew up watching it, that's, I think, the first movie since the pandemic, correct me if I'm wrong, where it almost fired up all your senses, like your look, your smells, your flashbacks of childhood, nostalgia, emotion, heart. I mean, it was like everything all in one movie. And you could not get that experience at home the way it was portrayed.
No, I left the first time. I immediately jumped on Facebook, called it a masterpiece, and it's funny, people will, don't ruin the movie for me, blah, blah. And I'm like, guys, you should know me by now. On social media, I don't ruin movies. Will I say that it's a masterpiece? Will I say that it wasn't good? Maybe, but I'm not going to tell you why. I'm not going to give you the why. But when I say that movie was a masterpiece, it's because of everything you just shared. And brother, it's been a while. It's been a while since I've cried at a movie in public, like holding back tears. And, I think the last time that I did was, Spider-Man, when our boys jumped through the time warp. And I was like, wow, this is really happening. Really
all
happening.
The rumors are true. Yeah.
Boys are together and it's happening. So I did cry there a little bit. I shed a tear. For sure. But Top Gun, I was holding back crying. Yeah. Because I was like, wow, they did it just so great. And the story was so good in the flashback.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, Spider-Man No Way Home, like the Aunt May thing, Marissa Tomei. Ooh. So that got me like, I was completely full of water in my eyes.
Yes.
But Top Gun Maverick, I don't know if it was the first time in that movie. It might have been the first emotional piece, but when he was at the bar.
Yep.
Spoiler alert. But when Rooster was playing the piano.
Yes.
And Tom Cruise was looking outside the window. Ooh. It wasn't like a Spider-Man No Way Home teary-eyed. And I looked at my wife and I was like, because Spider-Man No Way Home, I was like, wow, that was fucking deep, man.
Yeah.
Right. And you're kind of like teary-eyed. But at Top Gun Maverick during that scene, it was one of those like it was
that
like
whatever, sorry, trying to find a camera. Whatever that is,
whatever that word is. I don't know what that word is, but that's what that is.
You're okay. Well, not ugly cry because you're holding it back, but it's like, that, bro, when he was looking in and the love interest was looking at him, it was this moment. It was this beautiful cinematic triangle of emotion of, man, like it was just a triangle of emotion because even his love interest was looking out the window, catching that moment. She knew what was happening. It was wild.
It might have been my favorite non-dogfight scene in that movie.
Yeah.
Like, because what I loved most about it was probably like a 4-minute scene. Yeah. It was a relatively long emotional scene.
Yes.
But it was the slow buildup. He walks outside. He walks away from the bar.
Yep.
He hears it. Hears the song. He turns. He comes back. He turns and he looks kind of like peeking, like, is someone playing the jukebox? What is that? And then he looks and realizes it's a person. And then there's about a 10-second flash of Goose from the original. But then the other 3 minutes are all Tom Cruise, then Rooster, then the love interest, Penny. Tom Cruise, it was a long buildup of emotion. And that's kind of like the first 20, 30 seconds. You're like, ooh, this is intense. And then like after a minute, you're like, and then the third minute, you're like, like,
again, we're talking movies. So it's like not a lot of movies do that. And not a lot of movies really take that time to just let you sit in it. And that's why I love Tarantino films. He lets you sit in it, whatever it is. If it's cringy, he's going to let you sit in that cringe for 6 minutes. And in a movie, 6 minutes of cringe or awkwardness or silence or emotion. I don't want to get meta with this, but like, I'm going to have to. It's like, it's almost like where we're at with society. Like we're so microwave. Like we want it now. We want it now. Whatever it is, we want the money now. We want the relationship now, the love now, the this now. I want whatever. So in movies, a lot of times because our society wants things now, it does feel kind of off-putting to be in a moment to relish a moment for more than 30 seconds to a minute. And like you said, that was like a 4 minute, you were in it. And if you started to cry, this is the crazy thing about movies. So you'll have that moment where you're well up, right? But then the scene will cut. Cool, we're good. Everything's back to normal. We're on the beach playing football. No. You're going to sit in it. And that welling up of water is going to start coming down because we're giving you 5 minutes of this.
Exactly.
And it was good.
And bro, I love the aspects of what you're saying with encapsulating kind of like where society is now, because that is true when you think about it. Not only is our attention span so quick, but you look at it, if you really boil it down, take movies out of the equation in the theaters. From the time you get up in the morning, you got to go to work. You got to get your caffeine, right? You got to look at your phone. And then when you're on your phone, you're skipping ads. You're scrolling through. Like everything's so quick. And I'm even finding myself like Hulu is the only one I think I don't pay for. I watch the ads. But I'm finding myself now, I'm conscious of it now, so I'm trying to watch more ads. But when Hulu pops up on an ad, I get upset. Those ads are a minute and a half I have to wait. That's it. And I get so upset. It pops up and I'm like, why does it have to do that? And then, but now I'm conscious of it. So now I'm like, watch the ad. Maybe it'll be something cool. It's geo-targeted. Maybe I'll enjoy the ad. Let's just watch it together. And I'm trying to soak it because people, they're always so quick to just go to the next thing, like you said. So when it comes to a movie, that's why a lot of people, my dad even was giving me shit last night, matter of fact, because he finally watched The Batman at home on HBO Max. And I was so upset at him because he watched in 2 shifts. and him and his wife, and they told me yesterday, because I told them it was better than The Dark Knight. And I didn't say it was a better movie than The Dark Knight. Specifically, I even did it on a podcast where The Batman is the best Batman movie ever. The Dark Knight is a better film. But I don't look at it like a superhero film, even though it is, and it changed the genre for sure. But The Dark Knight to me was all about Heath Ledger. He stole that movie. And if you look at the Batman as a whole and the actual character of it, and you appreciate the comics, the detective aspect, and you understand that that's year 2 as Batman, and the sequel is going to be better, the trilogy is going to be even more better. Like if you could take a moment and just reflect on where that is, and a lot of people can't really grasp that because they're like, well, The Dark Knight, Bro, did you know there was a movie before The Dark Knight? It was called Batman Begins, and it wasn't as good.
I know.
So if you look at that trilogy as a whole, yes, it's great. But if I take 2 of the movies, one in the beginning, Batman Begins, and then Dark Knight Rises, and I subtract them and divide them with The Dark Knight, it's like 0.05. Like it's a decent trilogy. But the only thing that made it great was The Dark Knight. If you look at the Batman as a whole, it's a better Batman movie.
No.
And my dad's busting my balls about it. And I'm like, Dad, did you see it in the theaters? He's like, no, I saw it HBO Max. I go, exactly. That's like a Top Gun Maverick, man. That's like a Spider-Man No Way Home. You have to see that in theater to appreciate when the rain is trickling on your left side, right? And then you hear Robert Pattinson's voice saying, thumb drive. Like when you, and that's whispering, and then Gordon's on the other side, and you're hearing all these sounds, and it's almost like you can smell things even though you can't. Like when you're in that zone, it's a different thing, man.
We're going to take a quick break from today's episode to introduce you to one of our sponsors, Meet Cute Box. Meet Cute Box is a themed date night box with unique items from small businesses around the world. Every box is handmade based on your membership profile, so you and your partner have a new surprise each month.
When you order a Meet Cute box, you answer some questions about yourself and your relationship to get your perfectly curated box. Every relationship is special, and Meet Cute thinks your box should be too. That's why they will never mass produce their crates. Each box is handmade for love, with love.
Each box is filled with products valued up to $100, but memberships start at only $29.99. To learn more about these boxes or order one yourself, head to meetcutebox.com and receive a box as early as next week.
And this, man, I know, again, I don't want to get too just spurt off of different and go on tangents, but
let's do it. That's what the Berardo podcast is all about, bud.
So this is a cool conversation, right? Because I think about where we're heading. Okay, in regards to the metaverse and where we're heading with VR, AR. I'm actually more excited about AR, augmented reality, than VR, because augmented reality, we're still going to be in reality. We're just going to have things floating around us, because we're going to have, whether they bring back Google Glass or, Apple Glass, or, the Ray-Bans, they got smart glasses now, and whatever. Yeah. I'm actually more excited about augmented reality than virtual reality. And here's why, because like you're saying, there's things that when you experience them in person, there's just something about it. That's why movies, like, as much as, man, Transformers gets pooped on and trashed on, there's movies like Transformers, when you watch it on a TV, even if you have an 80-inch screen TV with surround sound, okay, there is nothing, okay? And I remember watching, oh my gosh, people are going to probably cancel me for this, the last Star Wars in the trilogy, the last one, okay?
Yeah.
I watched that on iDrive, the biggest IMAX theater in Central Florida, okay? This thing is, it like wraps around. It's like Soarin', Have you been there?
Soarin'? No.
Well, no. Have you been to the IMAX experience in Orlando?
No.
Biggest screen in Central Florida. It's like Soarin', like the huge screen that wraps around you. So it's a peripheral view of a movie. The screen is so large. It is crazy. If you've never gone, I'll send you the link. You need to experience this. It is the largest IMAX experience in Central Florida. Anyway, I watched Star Wars on it, and there's just something about watching a movie, how I believe, like, the director, like, when you think of a human being saying, this is how I want people to experience it, and then you experience it in that way, it's like 1917. The director of that film wanted you guys to experience it in the movie theater. That's why, like, war movies, you
have to, yeah.
It gets, it doesn't matter. War movies, if you're a war movie person, you need to watch those movies in the movie theater, because they're larger than life. Like Jurassic Park's coming. That movie's going to be larger than life. They're going to be closing, well, as they're sharing. I don't know if they're closing the trilogy or just closing it all together, but either way,
yeah.
Jurassic Park, and I'll go back to Top Gun real quick. I watched Top Gun the Tuesday night, right? Regal had an early special event. I watched it Tuesday night. It came out Thursday, Friday, but Thursday or whatever.
Right.
I watched it on Tuesday, packed house. It made me feel like a kid again. I remember going to Transformers movies, right? Even Twilight. I remember when movies were big and larger than life, and the movie theaters were packed to the brim, inside and outside. I would go to the movies, and it would just be a flood of people. And Top Gun was like that. Spider-Man was like that. The Batman was like that. And I was like, guys, I think we're back. I think we're back to the movies.
For sure. And, let's give it up again, just talking about Maverick. So Tom Cruise as a whole, you could bust his chops all you want about Scientology and being a whack job, but a lot of people don't know. So, he's turning 60 next month.
Oh yeah.
And first of all, let's talk about that for 3 seconds. So not only is he 60, he looks like he's 40.
Yep.
But did you know his birthday is on July 3rd?
Did not know that.
He was born before America. This motherfucker is an animal, bro. Like, I don't know if that's his actual birthday. I mean, that's what it says on his Wikipedia profile. But it's so interesting how literally, if it was July 5th, it wouldn't be as funny. But July 3rd, he is such a mega mastermind that he was born the day before Independence Day. I mean, that's fantastic.
It's fantastic,
So, but 60, bro. And that dude has done so many great things for film over his years. And there's not a whole lot of bad movies that he's been in.
Exactly.
I can't think of a lot.
I can't think of a lot. And I mean, I don't know. This isn't a spoiler because it's a trailer. I mean, there's a new Mission Impossible coming out. I mean,
oh, yeah.
Part 1.
Yes.
So there's 2 Mission Impossibles coming. And my man is 60 years old, still jumping out of helicopters because he does his own stunts.
Oh, speaking of which, do you want to know a fun fact that I pulled for this podcast?
What's up?
So the director, Joseph Kosinski, I think is how you pronounce his name. But he also did Oblivion, I believe, for him and Tom Cruise did that together. Tony Scott a lot of people don't know, Tony Scott was the original director in Top Gun. Unfortunately, I believe he committed suicide back in 2012 or so. But Joseph Krasinski kind of took over and did an unbelievable job. I mean, to me, this was it felt like it was 5 years after the original Top Gun. It was very nostalgic. The cinematography obviously was upped massively. Yeah. And it was built for IMAX versus the 86 version was not.
Yeah.
But it felt very Top Gun-y. It wasn't like a lot of people probably are going into this being like, oh, it's going to be like Mission Impossible or it's going to be like World of Worlds where Tom Cruise is going to take on an army of 10 people.
Yeah.
And there was even one scene, I don't know if you remember, but him and Miles Tyler, spoiler alert, but when they get into the enemy territory and they're on foot.
Yep.
And they see a war base.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, oh, bro, they're going to make this so fucking Tom Cruise.
Yes.
He's going to, right?
I thought the same.
Yeah. He's going to walk up. Him and Miles Tyler's going to be scared. Tom Cruise is going to whip out a couple 9mm and pop a couple guys like John Wick. He ran like a scared little bitch because he's a fighter pilot. He is not Mission Impossible. He is not a fucking John Wick. He is a fighter pilot and has never held a gun on screen, at least in this movie. We don't know what he did off camera, but his character is a fighter pilot. And they treated it as such, even though he could have done so many things in that scene, but they ran away. And I looked at that and I was like, fucking Tony Scott would be proud of that because that was very 80s.
Yeah. We're going to press in. You're going to have to put an alert or something on this episode for anybody that hasn't seen Maverick because I got to press in on this, okay? That moment, okay, when he's behind the stump and the freaking helicopter comes around the corner, and I'm like, I thought the same thing. I'm like, is this Joker gonna I don't know, Tom, Mission Impossible his way to shoot down this helicopter, and he doesn't, and it's it's just so real, and
refreshing, very refreshing.
I was bracing myself.
Right.
I was having that Tony Stark getting stabbed. Is this where we say goodbye to Iron Man moment? And there was a couple moments in Maverick that you have that moment and you're like, wow, is this how we're going to say goodbye? And man, they did such a good job. Like I said, he'd be proud and he wasn't, I'll just leave it there. I mean, I know we've kind of, and at this point, if you guys are rocking with us, hopefully you watch Maverick because,
you need to, yeah.
It's just such Right. They didn't make him out to be some, hey, out of nowhere, he can just shoot 35 enemy people without anything and jump here and do this and, jump off of a cliff. No, it was real.
It was real. And, again, this is it. I got a couple buddies that are in the Navy, and of course there's some plot holes and things like that. I'm going to have them on the show just that we can debunk some things, which would be interesting. But as a whole, it was very real, according to them. There was a lot. That's how, Navy SEALs, or not Navy SEALs rather, but, fighter pilots as a whole that are in the Navy are not trained to do that type of stuff. That's not what their role is. They stay in their lane. Of course, there's some type of training, but, they're not capable of that type of stuff, and nor do they want to. That's not their job. The Navy's very strict on what your job is. And I thought that was very interesting because I did not expect it. And that is, again, just tells us where our heads are as a culture, because we look at every big screen or we look at every scene like that and we're like, oh, yeah, fuck it, take down the helicopter with fucking one shot. But we need to get back a little bit more to like what movies are. And I think Tom Cruise did just an unbelievable job bringing the realism to it and doing the sequel justice. Now, if they come out with another sequel, I'm going to be upset, I think.
Yeah. I think
even though I'm sure it'll be good, but I don't know. I think they should leave it right there, and it was just fantastic. What a way to end it.
I can see how they can if they wanted to, but I think right now they leave it here. It's strong, and it's
maybe
a legacy.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe if you do like a kind of a Rocky and Creed thing where Tom Cruise passes the buck to Miles Tyler, I could see that a little bit. But Tom Cruise does not need to be in the big movie. What I did like about this though is, it was called Top Gun Maverick, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people I think went into it saying, oh, it is going to be more of like a passing the buck to Miles Taylor and Miles Tyler and all those guys. It was not. I mean, this was a Maverick movie. It was all about Maverick.
Yep.
And fun fact, even though I said this 20 minutes ago, but here's the fun fact that I pulled for this. So according to the director, at the insistence of Tom Cruise, there is absolutely no green screen or CGI aerial shots in the film. And even the close-up of cockpit shots are taken during real in-flight sequences. This is meant for much of the cast as well, as they undergo extensive G-force training sessions to prepare for this, and that their bodies can physically withstand the demands of G-force pressures during the flights.
Because you see, the G's, you see it. It's almost
you see their faces for sure.
Faces, and it's like, it's almost. I mean, I don't want to say embarrassing, but it's almost like
not flattering for sure.
Almost like it's because it's so real. It's almost like, wow, like this is how. And kudos to the cast. I know that Tom Cruise does his own stunts. I don't know about anybody else on the staff or on the crew, but of course you have stunt women, stunt men. So whoever the people were that were in these these airplanes, and they were feeling the G's and doing what they were doing, kudos to them for being filmed, doing it. It was so raw, that wasn't acting. That was I am in an airplane doing G's, and this is what you get. I'm not pretending to do anything. I'm not pretending to be a pilot. I am a pilot.
Yeah. Well,
wonderful.
And from what I continue to read on this after I watched it, because I was like, dude, that shit looks so real, right?
Yeah.
So not only is there no CGI or green screens, but when Tom Cruise apparently flew most of the planes himself when he was in it. So that's actually his movements.
That's cool.
And he's actually flying. But when you see like Miles Tyler and the other actors, they're also in the planes, but they're in the back seat. And there's actual naval or Navy fighter pilots that are actually doing it for them. So the camera's positioned so it looks like it's them flying, but really, so they're still in the passenger seat in the back.
Okay.
Which is gnarly.
Yeah.
And that just goes to tell you, I mean, the commitment to and this is why we go back to movies, right? Movies as a whole. The whole idea behind this is that deserves to be in the movie theater, because the amount of sacrifice, the blood, the sweat, the tears, the time that they put into it, it doesn't deserve for me to wait 6 months and then watch it on my fucking couch like a fat ass and eat potato chips. that deserves for me to go in and spend $20 a ticket because a large portion of that goes in the movie theaters and the directors and all that. But of course, a lot of that is going to the actors as well. So, you know, it's like we're going to get better in movies, and the more money that these movies make, the more monies that, you know, producers and studios will put in to making movies. But if we get rid of the movie theaters, I mean, have you seen Netflix original movies? Yeah, they're great, but
I know.
I mean, come on, man. There's something you just can't compare it to going to a theater. And the production value, I think, of Netflix is going to decrease because I heard after their stocks plummeted and, you know, all the issues they're dealing with, I don't think we're going to see a bunch of crazy movies coming out, except The Gray Man. The Gray Man looks dope. Have you seen a trailer for that?
Yeah, I haven't seen it. The trailer, I definitely want to get into that.
Yeah, you need to check that out.
You know,
Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans, man, two studs. How can you go wrong with that?
I know. And you know, we're kind of going into Netflix real quick, but I do want to say one more thing about the movie experience. You know, it's like you just can't. It's humanity, man. And I know I get meta, and I know I get like empathy and compassionate, you know, or whatever you want to call it. But it's humanity, bro. Like, it's literally me. I don't know you, and we're sitting next to each other watching a movie. There might be a moment where I look over and you're laughing, I'm crying, you're crying. There's been times where I've high-fived a stranger because we're watching this and it's happening. What we desired, what we anticipated, what we theoried about, what we researched for months about, it's happening, you know?
Yeah.
Doctor Strange, you know, I have my thoughts on it. I liked it. I didn't love it. You know, we saw, spoiler alert, you see the Illuminati and you're like, whoa, like I was looking at strangers like this. Like, I was like, are you seeing what I'm seeing? This is happening. And
by the way, sorry to interrupt, but I didn't even see Doctor Strange.
Oh, okay.
Well, and you could give me a spoil. It's fine. No, I don't care. But because I already know what's going to happen because I spoiled it myself.
Yeah.
Only because people kept talking about it. But, you know, I've just been so busy. I'm trying to pick everything of what I need to see. Like, I'm seeing Jurassic World tonight. Opening.
Really?
Fuck yeah, bro. 5 p.m. right after work. And it's the first thing I'm doing with my life.
Bro.
And,
I'm about to
that's it.
Watch it tonight, too, then. Bump that.
Guy.
Where you at? Regal? Or?
I think it's AMC Riverview. It's the one.
Man,
near Brandon.
On my Regal app and see if there's an early, because I've been talking to people, you know, here in Ocala, and everybody. I don't know. I don't see. Again, I'm the kind of guy. No, bump that. I'm watching it. I'm doing. I'm doing the thing. So I got a 5:00 dinner, and then after that, I'm watching Jurassic World if it's available.
Crank it, bro. We can geek out about it tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, you know, again, that's one of those ones where a lot of people might not appreciate it because of, you know, where we're at with it. Yeah. But I like how they did it because, again, going back to Top Gun, so that movie I grew up with. Same thing with Jurassic Park.
Yep.
So Jurassic Park was probably and might be the best. I would probably say the best CGI movie of my childhood because it was really the first.
Yeah.
You know, it was the first of its kind, and it combined CGI with animatronics, and it did it in a way that was so real and so ballsy, and they put so much money into it, and they didn't know how it was going to go. And then it ends up being this cult classic where, you know, it gets a sequel like The Lost World, which was not bad. Jeff Goldblum, I think, is just the man, so I'll watch anything he's in. And then you get Jurassic Park 3, and that was like Sam Neill. And again, I loved his character. He was probably my favorite character in that movie because I like the kind of like Indiana Jones capabilities, but he doesn't want to do it because he's smart, right? Like Harrison Ford Indiana Jones is like, I know all this, right? Like I'm an archaeologist, I'm doing, but fuck that. I'm going to do it. You know, I'm going to go down this cave. Where Sam Neill in Jurassic Park is like, I know everything. The tracks are going this way. Let's go the opposite way. So I enjoyed his character on that aspect. And that was like, that third one was like, fuck, man, they just fucked it up. You know, it wasn't bad, but And then what I really enjoyed was Jurassic World.
Yes.
because it took something, again, like Maverick, it took something where it made it a sequel, but it was its own thing, but it still paid homage in so many great ways to the original. And then it got you back in the swing of things. And it almost made you forget about everything else. And it's very rare that sequels are better than the original. I think Maverick is probably creme de la creme and leads that category. Yeah. Dark Knight is definitely there, but the reason I don't include that is because Dark Knight Rises wasn't better.
Yeah.
So technically, it is the best one, but it's not the best sequel because it was the middle movie. So I don't really put it in the category, but obviously a great sequel to the original. And then you look at something like Jurassic World, which was technically a sequel, and it keeps getting better. And then you look at this one that looks fucking bananas, man. Like, but I love the evolution of it because in the first one, Jurassic Park, they look at it like they're terrified that what if these animals get out of the island? What if there's dinosaurs in existence? And then you get a little tease in the Lost World, right, with Jeff Goldblum, and then you're like, oh, that's it. Okay, and then the third one, no one leaves the island, no dinosaurs get off, and you're like, okay, so I guess they're staying on the island forever. No big deal.
No big deal.
And then you see Jurassic World, and you're like, wait a minute, are they gonna fucking? And then now it's like it's the slow burn of what they all predicted was going to happen 25, 30 years ago. And that to me is the genius part about this franchise.
Yeah, no, I know we're talking Jurassic Park, but we were also talking sequels. And I got to drop one of my favorite sequels of all time, Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Bro.
Ooh, you're not wrong.
Terminator 2, brother.
You're not wrong.
You want to talk about a sequel that that movie, I like randomly just have these daydreams of that whole motorcycle scene, bro. Like,
oh hell yeah,
T-1000 in the freaking semi truck, like
epic, dude. And that was all done. You know, that was all done in the tunnels in Cali. I mean, that was all real.
Yeah,
you know, and they're blowing up fucking semis and stuff. It's awesome.
Freaking sequels, man. You know,
no CGI.
A sequel done right will definitely take you to the next place, man. But
yeah, dude.
Oh,
but there is something a lot very special about seeing these movies on the big screen. You know, there's a part of me that's like, put it to bed already.
Yeah.
You know, enough with the sequels. You know, they're rebooting Interview with the Vampire.
I heard that, and I'm like, really? You know,
come on,
stuff that I don't know. I don't think you should.
Which, not to go on this Tom Cruise podcast, because that's kind of what this is all about. But that's okay. He deserves his own podcast. Yeah. But that is a movie that in Hollywood, you're just run out of ideas.
Yes.
And you need to go on TikTok and find some creators that are funny and maybe are good actors on TikTok. You need to make a movie around them and make original movies, because I'm sick of them rebooting things and changing things. Now, if you want to, Tom Cruise, if you want to make 5 more Top Gun movies, all right, cool. I get it. I mean, you know, The Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, they're coming out with another sequel. That thing made, I don't even know how many billions of dollars, but I heard Todd Phillips, just himself, his own paycheck off of sales, he made $40 million off that movie.
Wow.
Liquid off one movie. So he only worked on that for 9 months. So, of course, you're going to do another sequel if you made $40 million in less than a year, right?
Yep.
So I get it. But at the same time, don't take an old movie like, you know, Interview with the Vampire and make that a reboot. Because that was probably one of Tom Cruise's best non-military agent movies. Like, you know, like Jerry Maguire, of course, is up there. But Interview with the Vampire, man, that was... People forget how great that movie was. That's Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise, man. What else do you need to know?
I know. And, you know, it's like, it's interesting. We talked a little bit about Netflix and, you know, about possibly the quality and stuff kind of going down, and some of them, you know, some of the studio being under fire or whatnot. But when you say that, I think of kind of some of the things that are happening in Netflix, and it's exciting, you know, like some of these shows, because it's interesting, right? Because we talked about movies, and then you have a show kind of where I'm trying to touch all the points here, but that's why I'm excited for the Batman, because of the spinoff with the Penguin show, you know.
Right.
I think that, to me, And Marvel kind of started doing that too, right? They were kind of one of the first ones to do it a little bit. And now Star Wars is doing it. And I absolutely love it because it just gives, it's like reading a good book. It's just like anything else. You can go a little deeper. You can dive a little deeper in these characters. And that's why I love shows, man. And so, like, my goodness, man, some of these shows, and Peaky Blinders, actually, what's today's date? I think Peaky Blinders, well, no, I think it comes out the 10th. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Blinders, you know,
I mean, you had Ozark on Netflix, right?
Watch Ozark. My goodness, I'm still.
I think, dude, not for nothing, but there's a lot of series out there, but Ozark might be one of my favorite series on the planet.
Yeah,
you know, for me, it's up there with Sopranos. I love Sopranos, and it's a long season, right? Or seasons rather. I think there's 8 or 9 seasons, 8.5 seasons of Sopranos. But I mean, that to me is like just great storytelling. Lot of what do you call it? A lot of weaves in the web.
Yeah.
Right. Ozark is like that to me. You know, in terms of storytelling and.
Yeah, no, Ozark was one of those shows, really. I mean, films, really. Oh my gosh. I mean, as a whole, it's a crazy, beautiful film. Yeah. But you know, Ozark was just one of those. There were no throwaway episodes. Everything was quality. You know, I think what they ended with, was it 5 seasons or 4 seasons? I think it was 4. Four,
but they separated it, so technically 5. Yeah.
4. And you know, even though, spoiler alert, even though I didn't want Ruthie to die, I get it, you know, and her career is taken off. She's actually, my goodness, they're looking at her for the biopic for Madonna.
I did hear that. Yeah.
So I'm super excited for her, man.
Really cool.
So of course, I mean, you know, maybe it was natural. Hey, we're going to end the show at 4 seasons, or maybe they're like, you know, we got a lot of badass actors on this show, so we're going to have to wrap it up, guys, because we're moving forward, and some of our candidates are going to be in movies, you know. But it was like, man, I would have loved to see Ruthie kind of play out her life a little bit, you know, and I would have been happy seeing Wendy not get away with what she got away with. But then again, that's what makes a good show a good show. And even though I still burn in anger towards Wendy, like Wendy's character, that's how you know a character's good. Yeah. I am legitimately enraged towards her. But the thing that's crazy about that is that her character is so complex that it's almost like there's times where I'm like, wow, like, what if they've gotten to where they got to without the genius of Wendy, but then the narcissistic, gaslighting, you know, freaking psychopath that she is, it makes you upset. But then again, it's like it acquired things that helped their family move forward. And that's, again, we talked about the synergy of movies and shows in life. That's life. Sometimes it's just like that. And I know that people don't want it like that, because I'm 38 years old, man. I was raised, you know, off of 90s shows, you know, Full House, Family Matters, you know, shows that everything was wrapped up at the end, really nice and tight in a beautiful bow. Sisters got in an argument. The younger sister took the older sister's boyfriend, and you know what?
Danny Tanner made it all better. Yeah.
Gonna make it all better in 30 minutes. And I think what's really profound about today's show is that sometimes it's not wrapped up in a bow at the end. Sometimes the bad guy wins, and that's just it. That's it.
And that to me is like a sign of a great series, is when it goes off the beaten path, it goes off the normal, and the acting is superb. And you know, there's so many great things out of that show. But yeah, that was probably one of my favorite parts. Yeah. If I had to pick like one thing that was great about Ozark, is the bad guys win. Yeah. Because they got away with a lot. You know, Ruth didn't, of course. Yeah. And I did want to see her continue, but then I'm also like, she was becoming a cunt. Like she was almost like, all right, she was with Marty Bird. Marty kept helping her. She's like, fuck you. She's wanting to do her own thing and start her own life. But she's literally killed somebody who Not that we haven't had spoilers, but she's literally killed somebody that has ruined the bird family.
Yeah.
And the bird family could have easily took her out as well, chose not to because they did care about her. But then she doesn't care about them. So she kind of got what they warned her. She got what she deserved, and it shows consequences. But then on the flip, which you don't see a lot, so she had to speak and had to kind of take her consequences on the chin. But the birds didn't.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting, right? Because they're almost both villains.
Yes.
So you're thinking to yourself, oh, if she's toast, they're next, right?
Oh, yeah.
So then when Oh Boy shows up at the house, I'm like, oh, that's it. He's going to go on a spree.
Yep.
And then you fucking get that surprise. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
But I was a little pissed, though, at that. Because then Black, it's like, come on, bro. Yeah.
And that's wild, like that whole moment, like
when you really don't know what happened.
Yeah. And you're right, because at the end of the day, we don't know what happened. But the show's over. So it's like, it's one of those, what is it? Inception, the top on the table,
Yeah.
Will we ever know? I don't think
it is a very Christian Nolan thing to do. Cause remember he did that shit at Dark Knight Rises too with fucking Oh Boy.
Yeah.
With Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Remember he was Robin, and then he goes up, and then that's it. And then he does an interview, and they're like, "Yeah, we just wanted to do that just because we wanted to. The whole idea was anybody could be Batman, so we ended it there." And I'm like, "You fucking asshole! First of all, you should have done a Nightwing spinoff. Number one, right? With Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I would have been all about it.
That would have helped his career too.
Yeah, dude." But then again, number two, it's like you're showing anybody could be Batman, but you're hinting the fact that he's Robin.
Yes.
That kind of upset me a little bit. And it would have been much better, in my opinion, if he was just never Robin. He was just another Batman.
True.
Because then it leaves the opening of, I don't know, what if we get eventually a Batman Beyond with Justin Gordon-Levitt? I mean, you could do a lot of different ways if you wanted to, right?
Yeah.
But he left the opening closed.
Yeah.
He left the opening closed. He gives you all that tease. Same thing with Ozark. They give you all that tease and then just Black. And you're like, wait, so if we never get a sequel, the rest of my days, I'm going to have to be stuck in a room clawing at the night, upset that I don't know where, what happened. Like ripping apart my fucking winter clothes. You motherfucker. But I mean, but that's film. Yeah. But that's film. It keeps you guessing, which is I love it. Which is always great. Yeah. But anyway, dude, we're at like over an hour already. All right. So listen, what else do we need to talk about? What are the good movies are out there?
I'm trying to think. I mean, we kind of went over the Spider-Man. I didn't want to go back too much further. And I mean, I think is this anticipation for some of the things that are coming out.
Is there anything in particular that you're really excited about, like the next few months?
To be honest, not really. I mean, I'm gonna end up watching Jurassic World, and I think that's really the only one on the docket. Like that. I'm like Thor. I like Thor. I don't love Thor. So it's not really something that I'm like, man, like I'm super excited about that. So I'm not really excited about Thor. I don't even know if I'm gonna end up watching it. It's kind of how I know you didn't watch Doctor Strange. So right. Thor was never really one that I was like, man, I'm gonna watch that. So I'll be honest. I think Jurassic World might be kind of it for a little bit. In regards to shows, Peaky Blinders, I'm nipping at the bit for Peaky Blinders. I absolutely love that show. That's about it for me. What about you? In regards to
I'm going to live in the nostalgia for a little bit of Jurassic World, but of course I'm excited about, like Black Adam, I think is going to be great.
Okay.
It makes me optimistic a little bit more in regards to the reshoots and pushing back all the dates, because you heard about that, the new CEO of Discovery and HBO Max and Warner Brothers. So apparently this new CEO said the top priority for DC is to continue Henry Cavill's story as Superman.
I saw that.
So I'm interested to see if that correlates with the reshoots that Black Adam, because he literally just finished reshooting like a couple weeks ago. because he had to do a bunch of reshoots, and the movie didn't, they pushed back the date to October.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued. Maybe like Henry Cavill gets a fight scene at the end,
which would be dope.
Yep. And then maybe we get a Man of Steel 2, but the villain is Black Adam. That'd be interesting.
Ooh.
So I'm like optimistic with that type of stuff. And then of course the Flash I'm really jacked up about because we got Michael Keaton coming back as Batman.
Now what
I'm
also with that, because I thought that didn't our boy get in trouble? Didn't he get
he
in
did.
trouble?
He did. And they were going back and forth, and I guess they just released a statement saying that the movie's already filmed and we can't do reshoots, but we are working hard to ensure Ezra Miller is on his best behavior, and he's aware that if he does anything else, that any other movies in the future will be non-existent. So I think they're going to continue that story.
Okay.
And I think he'll be okay. Hopefully, if he gets into trouble, they'll have to just cut future movies with the Flash, but who cares? I mean, it is what it is. But I'm also intrigued that Todd Phillips and Matt Reeves were also in talks of helping DC rejuvenate the DCEU.
Yeah.
So I'm optimistic on all that side, but non-comic book related, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of good ones, like, stupid stuff like Avatar 2's coming out, which that's a fun movie, right? And there's like Hocus Pocus 2 that's supposed to also come out.
Yeah.
Right, like just that type of stuff, dude. Like I'm really optimistic in the idea of going to the theater again, and not going all the time because it is expensive. I think that's probably the one downfall. I like the Regal passes and stuff, but I think if they did something along the lines of like, hey, listen, if you go to, I don't know, 3 movies a month, you get your 4th one free or something like that, just to get more people out more. But they got to do something because it does worry me a little bit that people aren't going to the theaters and they're not appreciating film, especially after the Batman. I got a lot of pushback on my video because of, my rating and that I said it was the best Batman movie.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, but you got to see in theaters. A lot of people in the comments, I'm like, did you watch it at home or in the theater? At home, HBO Max, at home. I was like, okay, that's why.
Well,
that's why.
There's a lot of times, man, when you're good at something, which you're very good, at your podcast, and then what you speak of, it's polarizing. So it's like, hey, you're going to get those people that agree and they don't agree. And one thing about you that I've always appreciated is that you just put it out there, man.
Thank you,
put
man.
it out there. You're real, you're raw, you're genuine. And that's it. Like I appreciate that, man. So good, bro.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I mean, it's that's all I'm trying to do, man, is you don't have to listen. That's what I always say. If you didn't like my review or if you didn't like my podcast, that's cool, man. Just turn it off, bud.
Yeah.
But I saw the analytics and you watched the whole episode, so
so thank you.
So thank you, buddy. And I'm glad you enjoyed it. No, but there's a lot of good stuff coming out, man. So just all good things, man. And I'm just happy where we're going as a society. If we can get back to this route and we can get back to, movies as a whole and enjoying cinematography and enjoying these 3-hour flicks in the theater, that type of experience, especially that, the wife and I started this company, Meet Cute Box, right?
Yeah.
We've always looked for ways to do date nights and stuff. And one of our first dates was at a movie theater. So, which a lot of people I think could relate with. So with that, it's hard to imagine if it didn't exist.
I know.
It's hard to fathom that, right?
And it almost, but I remember, during COVID, it was very strange. It was a strange time. And, here in Ocala, the Regal, there was huge speculation that our Regal was going to get shut down. And, it did, of course, for COVID, it got shut down. And then when it reopened, man, nobody was going, and I understand that, you're in an enclosed space, you're in a, if you will, with another 30, 40, 50, 100 people on an opening night.
Yeah.
But, it's just, it's really cool, man, to be able to go, again, it was just good to be able to go and feel like you are a part of something bigger than yourself. And as cheesy as it sounds, I'll say it one more time, to me, it's humanity. It's I don't know. I don't care how much money you make, what race, religion, what you believe in, if you're a mom, if you're an uncle, and whatever, like we're all here because and that's why I love conventions so much, comic book conventions. We're all here because we appreciate the same thing. We're all in this one room together. And if anything else, if we never say anything to each other and all we do is pass a glance at each other or a smile or a high five and we never see each other ever again, at least I knew that I was a part of something. And I think that to me is what the movie experience is about.
Well said, man. Well said. That was just round of applause. That was just great. No, dude, I think that's a great way to end it because, I didn't know we were going to talk movies so much, but this was awesome. This was a fun time. Absolutely, man. I'm looking forward to our peaks today. Let's get Ben on the phone, bro. Ben, what's up? We're calling you out, homie. Let's go. Let's do it. You want me to try to call him? I'll fucking call him right now. Let's make it a movie. I'm ready. Yeah, dude, I like it. And, it's the peak of summer, but, if you're okay with it. Oh, I'm good. We could power through. Daddy shorts, bro. My man. It might be kind of radical to do like a July 4th thing if you're not doing anything. Yeah, I mean, I am doing something for the July, but what if we filmed it like it was 4th of July? And we released it for the July. Yeah. I don't know. Now we're brainstorming. I love it. Now we're cooking. Thank you, EJ Nieves, for joining the podcast. It's always fun. It's always a good time. And if you don't already, make sure you follow EJ. He is an incredibly talented artist. Unbelievable gallery that he has there. He's doing these new things on TikTok. So if you can, EJ, shout out your socials so people can follow you there. Guys, you can follow me across everything. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and even Twitter on @official, N as in Nancy, EHS as in super, official Ness. One word. Love it. All right, EJ, thanks again, man. Keep up the great work, dude. You are an incredible artist, man. Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. Well done, sir. We appreciate you. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. All right, dude. Talk soon.